All right, we should be recording. All right, now we're recording. Holy shit. Let me actually let me know you all can see my screen. That was my bad for not sharing my screen though. All right, we're good, right? You can see my screen. You can hear me talking, right? All right. Yeah. So I was just talking to myself for like 10 minutes, literally. But anyways, we're just gonna go over my trade on today. And you guys can type questions. Bro, I was like, you guys can ask questions, and then no one's asking questions. I was like, what the hell, dude? Everyone's quiet today. I was like, what the fuck? I'm stupid, but anyways, let's kind of bring it back here. So why can we expect a sell day? So initially, like coming into the day, like we can definitely anticipate that YM can expand to this high. So why is that? Well, the weekly profile, right, supports what? Expansion, right? We have Monday opening low first. So how does a bullish week form? Wants to or any candle, you want it to open low first, right? So Monday opens low, forms sequential SMT with the previous day's low. We'll go over that soon, right? So this is a cracking correlation with the previous day's low. So Tuesday expands. So once price expands from an SMT, that's how you know have a true reversal on your hand, right? Wednesday expands, and then this previous day prints an SMT here. And we know that this little retracement, this little reversal that we had over here on NQ and ES and whatnot, we know that's a retracement likely, right? Because this asset is really close to these highs, right? You see the strength switch where NQ actually hits the high on Tuesday. Look at Tuesday's close over here. Tuesday's way down here. So while YM expands, what are we seeing NQ do? It retraces, right? This is textbook. One of the scenarios how asset synchronization forms. You guys will learn all about this pretty soon when I get to it, right? With the streams, very powerful. You can take that on the higher time frame, the intermediate time frame. That's why I was ping-ponging yesterday on the indices triad. It's just because of asset synchronization. But anyways, that's what we have, right? We have this asset tracing while YM catches up. So we know that NQ failed to manipulate this high. So what does that mean? Especially when the strength switch actually happens. That's when you want to see strength switch, is when markets are decoupled. So the strength switch allows for markets to resync, right? So hence asset synchronization. So when this asset actually catches up, we know that this is a sequence when markets can reverse / retrace. And it makes sense given the weekly profile because of this weekly candle, right? Small wick, huge body, that this is the perfect area to cap off the daily range, right? Doesn't that just make sense? So, when we actually hit this all-time high, we're just gonna ask ourselves on YM, does it support a reversal day? Does the day that we're actually trading support this idea? It's just candle profiling, right? One of the most consistent things you're gonna see. You see it here on the weekly time frame. Now you're gonna see on the daily time frame. So here, what do we see? How does this day form? If we want a bearish day, how do we want it to form, guys? What do we want it to do first, ideally? Who can answer that question? Open high, yep. We want to open high first, so 1800. Boom, open side first. So as you see, Asia session hits this high. So if Asia session hits this high, when do we want, it doesn't reverse. When do we want, price reverse? Ideally London session, right? So that's exactly what you see. Asia expansion, London reversal. So if London reverses, then what should the driver do? Right, it should expand away. So that's why I'm anticipating the drivers to expand away. I did take a loss today. Hold on, let me check this trade real quick, brother. Are we doing good over here? Okay, it's just jerking, okay. I'm kind of just in break even here. I already took a partial. Anyways, we're not going over this trade. Where are we at here? I forgot I had alerts anyways, but yeah, this day here, right, it supports that reversal type of profile. So when I go to lower time frame, this is that reversal signature that I want to see, right? That V-shaped signature. All right, V-shaped signature. You see that on the strongest asset, the one that actually took the high. That's important. When you actually have a reversal, the gaps that print afterwards are high probability, right? We want these to hold. So as you see, the 6 a.m. candle opens high first, right? And what we're going to see here is a strength switch. So you know that this asset was strongest, But now I go to NQ. Look at the high of the 6 a.m. candle. It's actually formed in 6 a.m. as we see. Go on NQ. The high of this candle is formed at 7 a.m. See this candle? Bullish candle. Bearish candle. So what did we talk about last week? That would be a two-stage PSP because you have SMT with this high here. So if you have a two-stage SMT forming the high of the 6 a.m. candle, what do we expect 8:30 and 9:30 to do? Expand away. Now 8:30 didn't really do shit. That's why I got stopped that on, but as you see 9:30 does that exactly. So when we play price over here, what is 9:30 opening up within? If this is going to be the high of 6 a.m. protected by SMT, then what is the driver kind of opening up within? It's opening up within these opposing candles, right? That should kind of protect the high of 6 a.m., right? These should hold if this is going to be the high of 6 a.m. So if we come into the driver here, and you clearly see that we haven't really expanded away from these opposing candles, then the driver should do that. It should expand away from the, these opposing candles. Where would we reverse off of? This candle's high, because obviously the previous one didn't reverse. But here we have a PSP as well. So if you look at this candle, it's bullish, ES, it's bearish. So that is a PSP, obviously, right? And at this point, we can actually potentially anticipate a two-stage PSP forming because this asset is closing very close to the candle 2. Right? It's not even a candle 2 on this asset, right? We know it can run that high out. So when that happens, when it runs this high out and then ES doesn't, right? That's your two-stage PSP. Does that make sense, everyone? So I'm kind of framing that, but on NQ, as you see, this asset is also putting in that bullish, candle, which is a PSP. Now, why am I trading NQ still, even with this strength switch and whatnot? Is because it's closest to the previous low, right? It had all these draws open. Like, this is so one-sided to me. Like, very, very one-sided. We even have previously high SMT. So what you're seeing as well, NQ consolidates, YM is expanding, right, into an objective. And when is this asset allowed to expand? When YM hits some type of draw on liquidity, right, which is the all-time highs. So that's my breakdown on this trade. And as you see here on the 3 minutes, there's actually a PSP here, like I mentioned earlier, right? And then you see that 8:30 trades higher first, assuming this is a protected high because of the PSP. And then you see 8:30 open higher and then close below. So this is my entry right here, assuming that this should be protected, right? If you see my driver video, which obviously did not work out. I was looking for this low, but it didn't work out. That's fine. So I got stopped out there. And then we see, with that 9:30 running out that high with that SMT with YM, instantly displaces lower, right? That tells me that, okay. Well, now that I can get on side with this, what can I get on side with this, right? You have this gap that you could have traded or this opposing candle, right? I really traded two trades here. One was on one account around this area. The other one was here, right? Taking it to this low. And I'm using the 1 minute here because around these volatile times, guys, like markets are just going to expand with speed. So as long as the opposing candle range, you see how large this is, right? That is all that matters. The opposing candle range is large enough where like I can trust it, right? Does that kind of make sense to everyone? Well, I can kind of take that. And at this point, I mean, the 6 a.m. candle is already supporting expansion. If we go, at this time, the 6 a.m. candle is already, the wick is put in. We kind of failed to manipulate this low to the left. As you see, we just consolidate. So when you close below that, through that, I'm assuming that's a failure to manipulate, and we should continue lower. Does that make sense to everyone? I don't care if there's equal highs here, because when the assets actually expand away, right, expand away from this and fail to manipulate these lows, it doesn't matter anymore. It's not gonna go it's not gonna do this. It's not gonna go and take out this low, go higher just to go lower. It's rarely gonna do that, right? And there's actually a Kraken correlation within this. If you view this as a consolidation, there's an internal Kraken correlation, right? Markets don't have to actually in continuation like this. So markets are in continuation. Why? We have this expansion, right? This is just consolidation, right? To continue again. It doesn't actually have to manipulate. That's a big misconception. It doesn't have to do that. So how do you leave a consolidation? There's really two ways. So it's you always want to, if you want to trade in consolidation or something like that, you need to be in continuation. It needs to be a draw on liquidity, right? So if it consolidates like this, it's not recommended or anything like that, but I'm not necessarily trading the consolidation. Like I didn't do that. I'm trading the breakout of it. So there's two options. You either trade the breakout where you fail to manipulate slow, and you trade the continuation through it to your draw on liquidity, or there's like some sort of internal two-stage SMT within it, right, where you can anticipate which side will actually go first, which side will get taken out first, and that two-stage is going to tell you most times. Does that kind of make sense? Um, so that was today. You guys want me to go over another day? I lose a lot of trades waiting for 3-minute, 5-minute opposing candles. Um, Probably where you're trying to enter is the problem. I don't think going lower will help you. Maybe if you go higher, maybe that'll help you. I don't see how going lower would help you though. No, I did not trade oil or metals today. Was there two-stage something in consolidation today? Yeah, there was. That two-stage PSP, right? This is the two-stage PSP, so here's your PSP, and then YM takes this high out. So this candle right here, this 9 o'clock candle, is bearish over here, bullish over here. YM takes that high out, as you see. Yes, the PSPs I use are usually 30 minutes or above. We consider long after it takes pre-slope. No, I wouldn't. Because at this point, like the weekly range is already capped off. It's like, what are we going to expand it to? Now you're fading the daily candle at this point. It's like a double negative, honestly. I wouldn't do it. When do you know to trade the 1 minute? Because today there was no continuous entry. Yeah, it's around drivers, right? So it's after reversal, like a true reversal. So let's say we have a true reversal here. You have a draw on liquidity, like a really obvious one. And then the driver, confirms that reversal. So that's 930 expanding away for me, right? And it creates that gap in price. So when you displace away from a two-stage SMT, like it's almost like it's not guaranteeing that's going to get somewhere, but it's pretty high probable. When it creates that gap, I mean, that's all I need to see, to be honest. Because once you have a actual reversal, then that confirms expansion, and the markets expand to only two things. It's just highs and lows and gaps. So the only objective is those equal lows that we had, and also the previous low, right? That was still open. So as long as I have a large enough range on the pullback, that's all that matters, right? As you see, the 1 minute range is quite large. It's big enough for me to trust, because price is going to be so volatile. Price may not give you that 5-minute entry, whatnot, because if there's still an open draw on liquidity, it's just going to go there, right? So that's the thing that just takes a little bit more experience, but waiting for those 5-minute, 3 minutes entries are probably best around 10 a.m. because price is a little bit more slow. especially in a continuation. So this is kind of like a driver continuation. That's when price is going to be quick, you know, usually. What do you consider a large wick? So you can only measure that within continuation, really. Like you can't really do it mechanically on a reversal. So within a continuation, it's simply measuring previous candle's range, right? I want this candle's wick to ideally form below the lower half of the previous candle's range. Right? That's how you mechanically define a small wick. Now, if it goes away up here or whatnot, it's kind of a large wick. You don't really want to trade that necessarily. But a reversal candle is a bit harder. You kind of have to just eyeball it. You're going to get experience. Where you're just going to eyeball it. Like, literally. As long as it just, like, opens high. So you might have, like, you might be on the fence sometimes, but as long as that candle opens high first, creates the reversal from some sort of relevant level, and then also creates the high of that candle, like early on in the candle, like pretty early on in the candle, then you have enough time to expand, then you should be good. When do you consider entry before driver? When there is already like a key level being hit, or like a reversal already put in from a key level, and there's a clear invalidation level. So like the drivers, let's say we have like price trade into a high or something, creates SM to the high, and then the lower time frame confirms that we have a candle 2 closure, and then the driver is like opening within that. And like this lower time frame PA is very clear. Like you have bulky opposing candles to trust. So now you just be assuming that 9:30 will just continue away like that, or 8:30, whatever. That's when you do it. It's not an everyday thing though. You mentioned SSMV briefly. Yeah, I do use it, but it's more like a confluence. Do you guys want to go over that? What that is? It's pretty simple. All right, we'll go over SSMT. So here's a simple way to view SSMT. You don't have to pull up the indicator or nothing like that. I actually hate that indicator. All you have to do is put on the weekly chart, the daily chart, the 6-hour chart, and the 90-minute chart. All right, that's all you have to do. Now, hold on. Now to view, basically what SMT is simply when an asset takes out the previous candle that you're viewing, so either the previous weekly high, the previous daily high, the previous 6-hour high, the previous 90-minute high, on one asset but not the other asset. All right, that's sequential SMT. It's just SMT with the previous candles or quarters high and low. We're just viewing quarters through candlesticks, right? Because if I go to the 6-hour chart here, let's say NQ takes this high out, right? And then ES does not. So it's an SMT like this. That would be sequential SMT between quarters, highs and lows. We can view the quarterly high and low through the 6-hour time frame, right? So this would be the previous quarter low. This is the previous quarter high. Does that make sense? So when I go to the daily chart here, what do we have here on YM or ES and YM? We have, we have YM and ES taking out the previous day's high, and NQ not doing that, right? So it's literally just that, like no bullshit. It's literally that simple. So if I show you yesterday, here's your first stage SSMT. It's an SMT with the previous day's low. Going to YM, right? There's no SMT there. And if I go to 90-minute chart, you have a 2-stage SMT. So this is what's called a 2-stage. It's kind of a mouthful. It's a 2-stage strength switch sequential SMT, basically, right? So you have your first stage SMT and your second stage SMT, right? But that's also a strength switch. You see that? But it's also, both SMTs are sequential with the previous quarter. Does that make sense? So it's actually pretty simple. It's very, very simple. So this can be a filter for your SMTs and whatnot, but you don't just want to use SMT anywhere and everywhere, or SSMT anywhere and everywhere. It's more like relevant levels, right? So why is this a relevant level to me? Well, it's just a swing point, as you see on the 30-minute chart, right? That's a relevant level, you know, SMT there, and then you get, you know, our PSP and whatnot to confirm that, etc. That's what we had here, 2-stage PSP, right? And then if we form that prior to driver, so if 830 goes and creates that, and what should 930 do, right? It should do what? It should expand away. I believe actually 930, yeah, 930 actually created the SMT here, the 2-stage. So it's just like textbook, man. Just fucking really good. But that's really all it is, man. So on the higher time frame, you want to be looking for cracks and correlation between previous week high, previous day high, and then to confirm the high and low of the day, it's with, you know, 6 hour and 4 hour. So you can also do the 4 hour as well, right? If you look at my trade here that I just took in the PM session, why am I taking this? Well, it's more so like a scalp to hit a trading day, but I'll show you the logic behind it. I don't know why I'm doing that. Weekly open, daily open here. So this is already an expansion candle, right? So it cannot become a bullish expansion candle, obviously, right? So I'm doing this candle here as more of a retracement, right? And if we're going to continue lower, where can we continue lower from? This gap, right? And if you see here, we take out this candle's high, right? But not on YM or NQ, as you see, right? And I go to the 90-minute chart. I think we have like a PSP on the 90-minute chart, which is a little bit more high probable. So you have an SMT fill. An SMT fill is just an SMT with gaps, basically, right? So this is a really high probable sequence. I've already told you guys this last stream, is when you have a, I'll try to draw this out for you guys. Hold on, let me actually like manage this real quick. I said real shit. What time is it? It's like 4. I need to close this bit. Not gonna lie. Let me close this real quick, man. Got this stupid indicator on my chart, bro. Okay. Hold on, guys. So, bye. Okay. All right. What the fuck? Hold on. What are you doing to me? Is this still on here? I cannot tell, bro. I'm trying to do this on my phone. My phone is fucking being annoying. Jeez. Deleted my fucking order. Alright. Bang, bang. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so let me show you guys this little sequence for SMT fill. This could be literally your whole model, to be honest. Like, it's not going to present every day, but it's a very good sequence to see on all time frames. So let's try to draw a fair value gap here. Okay. Now I'm going to do it like this, actually, bearish candle. I'm actually going to make that dark so you can't see the wick. Okay. Alright, so let's say this is a PSP here. Holy shit. And we still have an open draw on liquidity. This is pretty important. You want to open draw on liquidity, you want to beat in continuation. So I showed you guys this continuation PSP model last week. And don't worry, we're going to do an in-depth way to trade PSP and whatnot. It's just, I was going to do it Saturday, but I needed time today to finish the slides. I don't have them all done. So we'll just have to do it like next week or something. So this is when you have a fair value gap here. So basically the PSP low is the fair value gap high. So this asset will run out the low. Let me put my candle border actually. While the correlated asset will not. So it's not only a PSP, but it's also an SMT fill. So one asset is actually, trading to the gap and taking out the previous candle's low, while the other one is not. All right, so this is what's called, I actually don't know what to call it, but yeah, it's something you can just look for, right? It's a combination of a SMT fill and a continuation PSP, basically. And you expect us to expand price higher. That's actually what I put in my live trade. If you guys watched my live trade yesterday on YM, you saw this happen here. So yeah, cool little model to trade. Yeah, in a continuation gap, SMT is really good, for sure. Can use it on the lower time frame too. Verbatim model, dude. What you know about that? You don't know nothing about that verbatim model. Dude, hold on, I actually tweeted about that guy. I didn't tweet him, but I was like, dude, do you even know what the fuck that means? Like, I want to see if he responded. Wait, did he respond? Oh my god, bro. He thinks, oh my god, he thinks it's that reversal sequence, bro. It's not that reversal sequence. This guy is not real, bro. That's crazy. That's actually hilarious, bro. I can't with these people, dude. I actually fucking can't. But you can have this verbatim model, guys. You can have this with gaps too. So that's what we have actually right here, I think. If you look here, go on YM. Look at this high here. On like the lower time frame. We kind of, it's not really, but it kind of is. This high gets hit at 13:45. At least I think it would. Yeah, it kind of is. This is the gap over here on this asset. Hold on, let me make sure this is the right high. Yeah, 10 o'clock high. Oh yeah, this is definitely it, right? The 10 o'clock high is actually right here. Yeah. So you saw this high got hit a long time ago. As soon as ES hits it, right, this is when we reverse the other asset in the triad, creating a lower low. Right, so you can actually use it with multiple things. That's what we have on the weekly chart here. NQ hits all-time highs on Tuesday. You're seeing that as soon as this breaks the SMT, this is when we reverse. But there's no SMT with the high. It's just the breaking of SMT. Could it be you calling my name? Yes, sir. Keep verbatiming. I'm gonna start calling that too. Anyways, any other recaps we doing? What other day you guys want me to go over? I took this L today. Let's see. Okay. Wait, you trying to long here? I think it's L today. Oh, no. Okay. So you see this SMT that you're using here? Or whatever this is? Right? This is failure swings, so we never ever use or trade away from failure swings like that. Like, look what you're doing basically. So not only is the daily profile bearish, right, has SMT there, we are expanding away, you're like fading that, but you're trying to long away from like failure swings like this. So any SMT that you see, against your draw on liquidity is a retracement, right? So for example, this 90-minute PSP, for example, or this whatever, I think there's like something here, yeah. This sequential SMT here, this SMT here, right, is likely retracement. Why? Well, because the daily profile, for one, and also, the signatures of price. So like this right here, does that look like a reversal to you? No, right? So it's probably a retracement. So that's why I'm shorting this, by the way, is because I have a retracement signature. When would we cap off that retracement? In a gap, right? So here's the gap. What is the trigger for expansion? It's an SMT, right? This is what we have. There's your SMT. So that's why I'm trading this. Does that make sense? So like I also mentioned this in my SMT video, it's like even if I have SMT with the failure swing like that, I'm never gonna trust it ever, ever, ever. When the asset that you don't want this asset that's creating the failure swing this close to low, you never want to see that. But that's something you'll learn soon, specifically in certain scenarios. But yeah, you're just basically fading everything, basically. What the fuck? That's crazy. Do I usually trade PM? Not like it's not an everyday thing, right? It's not an everyday thing. You can trade any session, like literally. So like you can anticipate when Asia will expand, right? That's when the previous day hit a key level but didn't expand, but put in a reversal. So if it didn't expand yet, when would we expand? Probably early on the next day, right? You can do that. You can anticipate when you have a PM reversal. That's when you're trading typically a reversal type of day. So for us to even anticipate a reversal, for example, like you need to hit something relevant, right? So there has to be something relevant to the lefts. I'm not going to draw all that actually. Let's just go over an example. I can show you something right here actually. So why could we anticipate this day kind of closing back in the range? This day here. Wait, what's this day? Yep, it was this day, right? There's a very good logic, and Afiz would know this, by the way. So how does this candle form here, guys? It opens high first, very large run away from the opening price, right? So when it comes back all the way to the daily open, what do we know about this candle? Who can tell me? What do we know about this candle? What can it not do past the open? Anyone know? Yeah, it can't expand past it, right? So if you actually look what actually, this is formed from, right? We're actually forming this, the low of the day here in a key level. But most importantly, like looking at a triad, look at YM here. It's actually below the low, a relevant low. Right, see that? So this is obviously a relevant low, this space between these lows. So that could even cap off this weakest assets range. And what else do we see here, guys? A strength switch. So you see how I could trade PM if I really wanted to here? Does that make sense? You just have to make sense for you to trade PM or Asia or whatnot, right? So that makes sense. Pretty sure I put, if I can find in my video, but yeah, this makes sense today too. It's like 10 a.m. is more so retracing to me, right? I'm not really anticipating a big move here. It's just a small move. I can at least anticipate, a reaction back into this range here, right? And that was my first partial. EQ of this range here. I can take that position, right? And I have equal lows on here. You never know, man. Power hour does some crazy shit sometimes. And that's why I have a little runner here. What time is it? I need to close this shit, actually. I need to close this shit pretty fucking soon, actually, probably. But, yeah, I'm just going to close it. But, yeah, basically 10 a.m. is more so, yeah, expanded into something relevant. So you see, there's an SMT here, right, with NQ. But I'm viewing it as a retracement likely. Why? Because of the signature and price, right? It's very slow, choppy. When would we cap off that retracement with a gap, SMT, blah, 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 right? So yeah, you can definitely trade PM, but it's just not an everyday thing, There has to be open draw liquidity. Like if you look here on YM, oh yeah, this is a decent little example. I took ES though, right? Which may be my mistake for sure. ES actually had a way larger expansion, but I can anticipate 1400 or PM session actually expanding here. That's what I did trade yesterday, right? In my execution. Did I trade YM? Oh, I did trade YM. I just fucking TP'd like a little bitch right here. Oh, I think Afiz caught this. Didn't you catch this piece? We took the same trade. Oh, he might have left. Okay, he left. Awkward. But he also took this, right? But I did not hold to these highs, unfortunately. But you can anticipate this being a reversal Why? Let's look at it. So I'm also going to close this bitch real quickie. Let me delete this. All right, guys. What were we going over? Oh yeah. Why can I anticipate, some sort of move higher at least in this high, right? I'm not asking for much here. Like a lot of times PM could be a good scalp opportunity. Not so much expansion all the time like this, right? But if you look here, why can I even anticipate a reversal? Well, for one, I can anticipate this being a reversal candle on NQ and ES because for one, they're in a gap, right? They're in a gap, so I can anticipate these assets being a reversal candle, right? And if you go to ES, it's also a little bit stronger here, as you see, right, in the gap. So I can anticipate these assets being a reversal candle. And if this asset's truly the strongest one, right, you're going to see that it's a bit deceiving because the whole day, basically, YM was the weakest, but that's how markets work, right? Like, not every single day. Basically, one asset can be stronger the next day, and then it can switch weakest, and then it will basically realign itself as the strongest asset again, because we know on the higher time frame it is the strongest, right? It can be a little confusing, but we'll go over that later on. But I know that this should be the low of day, basically. Like this 10 a.m. close here should be the low of day, because this is the only relevant level. So you basically have EQ of this range, right, being hit, this gap here as well, right, while the other assets are actually in discount down here below the previous day's low, right? So when you have this reversal candle here, and I go to RTY, check out RTY at this point. It has this very large daily range. So here's the daily open. Look at this huge range lower. So at this point, it's like this asset also hit a daily fair value gap, towards the end of that 10 a.m. candle, and it's also a PSP. So you see how this candle is right here? It's bearish and then bullish. It's like, all right, well, shit, that can definitely provide me an opportunity here. And then, where do we have this PSP? We just have a nice signature, right? If I go to a lower time frame, I believe, yeah, this V-shaped signature as well. So if you actually look what 1400 is actually opening up within, around these opposing candles, right? You're going to see that NQ and ES actually trade into this gap where YM does not. So that is an SMT fill. And that's what I'm taking my entry off of, basically, right, into this high. And it ended up running all the way to this high, but I did not hold a runner. Does that kind of make sense? Like when you can do it, it just has to make sense, right? You can't trade every day, 1400. You just can't do it. Just like you can't trade every day 6 a.m. candle. Just like you can't trade every day 10 a.m. candle. It's all specific on the framework. But yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm going to get to it. I typically answer them after my trading day, after I'm done with everything, settled down for the day. Yeah, I'm going to get to it. Can you just tell the stream plans in the next 2 weeks? I don't know. I kind of just go with the flow. Literally. I just know next week is probably PSP. Well, advanced SMT PSP kind of ties into that. Trust me, next stream you're gonna learn a lot. Like you're gonna learn a lot. Like genuinely. Today textbook, yeah, for sure. 100%. Very, very clean. PSP is precision swing point. My last stream goes over it. This Does consolidation not lead to reversal always? So whenever you see price leave a consolidation, so typically no, the market does not reverse from a consolidation. So what I mean by that, let's say we have a high here that you want to reverse from. We expand into it and price just consolidates. Meaning that price can't do this in reverse like this, typically, right? Market's not going to do that. The market can do whatever it wants, but 9 times out of 10, it's not going to do that. The way you want to lead this consolidation is a manipulation. So like A and D reversal is when you would require this. But, let's say towards a high or something, we expand and we consolidate. Price can continue like this. It does not have to manipulate this low. Does that make sense? So that's the difference there. But obviously you would ideally want to have that, right? You do want to manipulate this low to create that protected swing, and expand through that to trade away from that manipulation. But yeah, it's not always a requirement that that's going to happen. But what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, let's say price does leave consolidation. Let's say price, creates fair swings. If price actually starts to leave that, so how do you know if price is going to leave this consolidation? If it actually fails to manipulate the consolidation low, then you would assume that this is a retracement, a higher time from retracements, right? So like MXM, price will leave a consolidation, so it's going to leave the consolidation to create that original consolidation. So you would assume this is a retracement. So what would cap off that retracement? EQ of the range or a gap, right? So when price hits this level, so basically when it fails to manipulate this low, you would automatically assume the draw would be EQ the range or like a gap or something. This is where you're looking for that, smart money reversal, etc., to expand to this high. Does that make sense? What is the can you go over this? What is the things in order, if there even is one, you look for while framing a top-down analysis? So higher time frame drawn liquidity, right? There's only two things. You're either trading away from a higher time frame drawn liquidity, or you are targeting a higher time frame drawn liquidity. Or sorry, what the hell am I talking about? You're trading away from a higher time key level. You're targeting, a key level away from that, reversal, that key level, or you're just targeting a key level. So I just explained that so bad, but basically, like, you're either trading away from a key level, so let's say a gap, to get to a high, right? Or you just open up the charts in no man's land, and you have a high and low, and there's some sort of like reversal, like intraday reversal that you're going to start to trade towards, right? Or maybe the weekly range development gives you an idea where market's going to go. So you always need to be trading towards drawn liquidity. That's the first step you're going to have. And you can have a higher time drawn liquidity. You can have a intraday drawn liquidity, like in the form of like 4-hour highs and lows. So like more like closer proximity draws. That's the first step. Then you need a key level to get to that drawn liquidity, right? So even if you're not trading from like let's say you're not trading away from a daily key level or something, you always have a drawn liquidity always, right? Whether that's, like I said, maybe it's just a hourly high and low or hourly failure swings or whatever, like you still need a key level to get to that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's a daily high, but no daily key level. I still need, 4-hour, 1-hour key level to get to that high on the daily. That's the next step. So when we hit that key level, you are asking yourself two things. You're asking yourself, are we actually putting in a reversal signature? So the actual signature of a reversal and paired with like SMT and stuff. And then does the current profile that I'm trading support this move away, right? And that's pretty much it. And then you just pair that with drivers. You align the expansion candles away from that reversal towards your drawn liquidity. That's the most simplest way I can put it, honestly. But we can have a stream on that too, bro. Do we have any criteria when to see 90-minute SSMT and when daily cycle, like Jacob says, drivers will be something which helps us decide which SMT to wait for? So you always have the same criteria. No, I don't trade the same as Jacob, but Like I know he has like specific sequences. I don't use those specifically. But like you can make it mechanical. So here's some way you can make it mechanical. So for one, you need SMT with a relevant level. So the SMT with the relevant level can be your first stage SMT. Your second stage SMT can be sequential SMT, or the other way around. Your first stage is sequential SMT. Your next stage is not sequential SMT, right? To confirm that sequential SMT, or it's two-stage sequential SMT, right? It's either one of those, rather than just like both not being like sequential SMT or something like that. There's many forms of two-stage SMT. There's like the crack equation one, and then like maybe a PSP. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe there's no SMT to the left, but there's a two-stage PSP, right? You just need to have one of them. Like framework is the most important part. When you combine any form of two-stage SMT with that, like you're already having more confirmation than most people. But again, that I have to make slides for all the sequences and stuff because it's just a lot of like scenarios and whatnot. Especially when markets are decoupled, like you kind of have to require more and stuff like that. But yeah, how do you trust SMT to YM? I don't know what's the deal with people not using YM, but I think it's fine. I think it's just because they don't understand like you know what to wait for in decoupled markets and stuff like that. But every single triad that you use, if you use, you know, let's say forex triads, so EU, GU, DXY, like there's gonna be a time where they're not correlated. That's how markets are, right? They go through these phases of not being correlated. You just have to understand like how to act on it, what to wait for, and stuff like that. But yeah, YM is 100% correlated. But either way though, like we're waiting for two-stage SMT anyways. I'm not just using one SMT and trusting it. I'm waiting for a two-stage SMT. So either way, that's one way to filter out, fake SMTs and whatnot. What's the easiest way you can explain to a beginner learning the GXT model? I am simply trying to capture the daily expansion, right? And I'm trying to, frame the high of the day, basically. I'm trying to filter the daily range basically with candle profiling, right? So it's in my course, right? That's for one. And I'm trying to confirm the high of day from a 1 hour or 4 hour key level. So meaning if you're going to trade the wick of the candle, if you're going to catch that wick, right, you want it to open high first, basically. You want it to hit some sort of relevant level. And then I'm simply, since this formation of the daily candle already supports expansion, lower, because it's opening high first, the daily wick supports expansion. Now I'm just trying to align 4 hour expansion candles away from the high of day. So I'm essentially aligning the daily expansion candle with 4 hour expansion candles. So I'm basically confirming the high of a daily candle with 4 hour swing formation. So, for 4 hour swing formation. And I'm aligning, 1 hour and 30-minute expansion candles within a 4 hour expansion candle. So a 1 hour and 30-minute swing will form the high and low of a 4 hour candle. So I'm just aligning expansion candles, which is already a good filter for price, because we want to trade expansion. We want to catch these bigger moves. So you need an expansion candle for that to happen. And you need multiple time frames to align itself. So it allows you to time your entries. So like if the current 4 hour candle hits a key level but it does not support expansion, well then you simply wait for the next 4 hour candle and that one will likely expand. That's how you time expansion. One of the ways you do it. You count this as a valid SMT, technically YM took out the range high. What is this right here? Is this an actual like swing point high? Let me actually see that. Where the fuck? Where was that? Oh, that was this morning. What the fuck is that sound? No, I don't think so, bro. Is it like this high or some bullshit? What are you framing here? So that is a 751 high. Oh, that ES? No, it's InQ. Oh, okay. It was around the driver. No, this is not relevant to me. Is there no SMT here? Yeah, there's an SMT with this swing point though. Like that's the relevant SMT. It's between this swing point to me. Like that's the relevant SMT. I don't care about any really of this stuff here. I did go over one of the recaps, yeah. So, which trade did I take? So I went over my PM trade yesterday on YM. Now, let's go over the other ones, I suppose. That would be over here, right? Yeah. All right. I also went over this one too, by the way. Were you here for this one? Dala? This long? Did you miss that? You were not here, so I'm not going to repeat it because obviously people that are watching stream back are just going to see the the same thing. But I will go over what else did I traded YM. I will go over this short though. I will go over that short. I have not covered this yet. So if you look here, the reason why I can kind of short this here, for one, it's like the profile makes it a little hard to really anticipate. Like this could have definitely went here for sure. And I didn't know. I didn't really know if it's gonna happen or not because to me it's like it seems possible for sure. Because it's not that much past the current high of day. It's really not that much past it. There is a definitely large wick, but you see how it's kind of a problem with this large wick that we could struggle here. Now, with this sequence here that I've taught you guys, this reversal sequence. So do you see how this is an SMT here? But even like more specifically, it's like this high right here. This high gets taken out at 10:30 on ES. You know, the asset breaks this SMT at 10:45. So right, so like 30 minutes later, right? So basically that's SMT breaking at this point, right? And when I look at, you know, we already know that's a type of reversal sequence, and then this assets are already super high in a range. It's like when I look at YM, it's really struggling to get to these highs, right? And if you look here, it's more of like in deep, you know, or it's not deep, what the hell? The other assets are in deep premium above an old high or old low, while these assets are printing a continuation signature, right? Look at all these failure swings. You see that? So what you would need to see if you want InQ and ES to expand through this high, like I want to see it just expand through it, but this is what we have here, right? This V-shaped signature. So what is that? A strength switch, right? So notice how this asset's creating gaps and whatnot. NQ is as well. Look at this gap here. Go on YM. We haven't even closed below this low. We haven't closed below this gap. So that is a strength switch right there, obviously, right? So when I go to the 1 hour time frame, what are we also within? A gap as well. So what would cap off this retracement, right? This gap. This candle, this 10 AM candle also open high first, right? So I'm assuming that this is now going to basically create the high of the 10 AM candle to then create another low, because at this point we still had this gap open here below the daily open. This is kind of like equal lows pretty much. See this low, this low, this low. They're like relative equal lows. So it's kind of like an engineered low below or above a 4 hour gap here. And that continuous signature, like I said, kind of confirming that. And then what do we have here? Two-stage PSP. So it's really the strength switch that you can tell that NQ is going to create a new low. Before that, you don't actually know. You don't really know because you don't know if NQ and ES are going to continue expanding. Because if it did continue expanding to these highs, then YM could have had a larger retracement and even potentially could have caught up. But when you see that strength switch, that's how you know that this is going to just create another low on YM, right? And that's kind of what happened here. So as soon as we got that close below here, these opposing candles, I just enter it, right? So we're having the V-shaped signature on all three assets. Look at them right now. They're all trading the same direction. That's what we want to see. Where can I put my stop loss? This breaker. This last down move before the up move, that took us lower. Because price should not retrace there, right? And this is my trade, basically. It was a little bit ugly, but yeah. Does that make sense? And also, this is an SMT fill with RTY. RTY does not hit that gap. Would we also have a PSP here? So that model I just showed you guys earlier, that continuation model. Why can I expect this asset to continue? Because the previous day's low and the higher time frame fair value gap is still left open. See that? So that's why I took that short. But yeah, I pretty much just covered all the trades now. Yesterday. But I'll probably end this pretty soon. I already went over the 1400 trade too. I don't know if you're talking about the 1400 trade yesterday or today. I also took one today on ES. But I had to close because the market's about to close. But yeah, I took this, guys. I took it actually from this inverse here. And I closed around, so I took a partial around 2R. I had to close around here. Probably not even going to post it. I have the execution though. But yeah, I went over this trade too. Hold on. Damn, should I start learning PSP? Absolutely. If you trade the fractal model, there's no reason why you should not be using PSP. It's only going to help you. It's only going to filter out fake swing points. Like, you gotta fucking use it, bro. I don't care who came up with it. A lot of people think, like, quarter theory is cringe. Okay, that's cool. Kind of is. It's the people that make it cringe, like Zeusy and shit. I don't even know if he uses it, but yeah, you know what I mean. But it's really good, bro. Nah, PSP is not new. It's just not really a widely known concept because quarterly theory is not really that popular. Not really. It's actually picking up a lot of steam, but yeah. It's very simple too. It's like stupid simple. At least the concept itself is like really simple. Now there's like other sequences and stuff, but yeah. Yeah, it's like a filter for swing points. It doesn't. It kind of confirms the swing point essentially. Yeah, like pretty much. Like you could say that, but you can't just use like PSP anywhere and everywhere. Like you have to decipher. Like if that PSP is going to be used for retracement reversal, it has to be at some relevant level that you anticipate a reversal at, right? Yeah, Scooby. I actually go over that last stream. Yeah, watch my last stream. You're lost in the sauce. I promise it's not. It is not. PSP is not complicated. You're gonna get it down like easy as fuck. Yeah, I always demand a PSP or SMT. You see most of my trades have a PSP in it. What are all the filters in the price? Candle profiling, um, uh, just like relevant levels in general, right? Aligning expansion candles. So being within an expansion candle, aligning multiple time frame expansion candles. That's just GXT itself, right? Drivers and obviously SMT, but most specifically like two-stage SMT. Uh, Phases of price, delivery. Pretty much that's it, right? You learn QT in 2024. Nice. I just I don't I don't even go that deep into QT really. Um, like I don't care about all these like quarters and shit. It's as simple as to me. It's as simple as is there a correct correlation between the previous quarter high or low? And I don't even have to have that indicator or nothing like that. It's just like I can view it through a candlestick. I honestly guarantee you that I use way less stuff than quarterly theory, but I'm probably better than like majority of them with using less honestly. Because I think the way we view narrative and stuff like that, when you combine it with it, it outweighs all this extra bullshit. You know, like, I don't know half the concepts they use. It's kind of like ICT. You know, there's like a bunch of concepts within it, but that like all you need is like SMT and like PSP, like, and then I don't even know if like asset synchronization is categorized in QT. I don't think it is. Not really. Stuff like that. They teach it and it kinda, not really though. A lot of this shit I have to learn on my own, bro. If you try to learn from Day, especially like, dude, it's like learning from ICT. Like I can't fucking do it. I know I yap. Like I definitely yap my YouTube videos for sure. Like I definitely do. But I'm like, at least I'm focusing on a specific topic and like only talking about that, and actually getting, showing a lot of examples and stuff like that. But holy shit, dude! Like ICT, brother, bro, it's like just yapping and it's like it's not direct enough. I can't do it. Like I try, and the thing about me, I can explain things very simply. I literally cannot do it. Like you try to tell me to explain something in 10 minutes, I'll go for a fucking hour. I don't know why. It's just because when I explain something, I want to like explain everything I know about it and all the different scenarios to use it and shit like that. I don't know. That's just like how I want to explain it. That's how I try to do it. Sometimes I'm not the best at explaining stuff and I stutter and whatever the fuck. But that's what I'm trying to do, at least. Yeah, I think GXC is like really simple. It's not. The model itself is like super simple and logical and whatnot. And I think the way I use quarter theory is really simple too. It actually is pretty simple. But when you get into like trading every day, like that's what's like narrative, like how to navigate certain situations, like that's what's nuanced. Like, duh, if you try to trade every day, no shit, it's not gonna be like ABC 1 2 3 because you have to trade. You kind of have to treat every day different if you're gonna trade every day. Now, if you're gonna demand one specific thing, like maybe like a few scenarios, well then you have to wait for it. You have less opportunities. But for me, it's like if I'm gonna trade every day and whatnot, like I need to have experience and whatnot. Like, yeah, it's gonna look more complicated or whatever. But yeah, I'm fucking yapping right now. But yeah, yeah, I've been seeing you just kill it with like 6 a.m. manipulation, 10 a.m. continuation. It could literally be that simple, bro. You don't even have to be like me. The 6 a.m. manipulation, 10 a.m. continuation is like goaded, bro. It actually is so goaded. Like I always tell people, if you're a new trader learning my model, dude, literally just trade the 10 a.m. continuation. Like you don't have to guess anything, man. Like you have both sessions to look back on, you have the drivers to look back on. Now trade the continuation if there's a draw on liquidity open. That's the only time you're gonna trade 10 a.m. continuation. Do you demand two stage? No, I always demand two stage. Always. Is there a chance you could give some insight pre-open what you caught attention? Or what caught your attention? Maybe like tease. Okay, so like I could do that, but like not now because, dude, every day in the summer, or most days, bro, I have to drive my little brother. I have to drive to my parents' house, take my little brother and sister here and there to their fucking practices and stuff like that, and that's literally around the market open. They have like 2 practices a day. It's like, bro, it's like, holy shit. So I had to like, I basically just come back here to their house and just trade here while they get done, and then I go pick them up, and then they have a practice 2 hours later. It's a bit ridiculous, but I just do that to help my parents, right? Because they work and stuff. But when that's over, like, yeah, I'll have time to do that and stuff. Yeah, bro, I have to like sometimes like phone trading, dude. I have to like phone trade. Freg knows that I'm always driving, dude. He hears my blinker and shit. Yeah. But yeah, when the market's clean and stuff, like I'll try to do more pre-market analysis and whatnot. But you have to understand that I'm a very different trader than T trades, AM trades. Like I'm not just like I don't get all my analysis from what you call it, the daily chart necessarily. Live trading, they don't want to do that. T trades and AM don't want to do that. Couldn't even do it if I wanted to. But yeah, when the day's clean, like I think, like Thursday, I said like this is a nice. I gave you the situations like what I want to see on Thursday because it's pretty obvious, right? You have a PSP here with YM, right? And basically, like all you have to wait for is one side of the range to go. So ideally, the scenario I put out was ideally if we're gonna go lower first, ideally YM actually takes its high out. We're seeing we have a type of scenario that actually played out. So that was this basically. So if you look at the high of day, it's a bit weird, but if you look at the high of day that was formed here, it was actually 1600. The previous high in YM was 1600. That high actually got taken out, right? It's technically this high. Yeah, it's technically this high. It's a bit weird, right? But technically these highs, right, they got taken out in Q, so you have to view it as like a strength switch, basically. And that would allow in Q to make the move first lower. Does that make sense? Yeah, there's like some days where maybe I don't have a bias and whatnot. Some days I do, prior to a driver. But you can just, if you don't have a bias, just let the driver pass, you know? I teach you guys everything that you would need to know. Like I literally teach you guys like exactly how I trade. Can you different example of a two-secret relation you generally look for? Yeah. All right. So for your first SMT, within like key levels, it can only be within two things. It's either an SMT. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, here it is. It's either an SMT between a high or a low, or a gap, like an SMT fill. Or maybe you don't have SMT with those key levels, but you create a swing formation from there, and within that swing formation you have a cracking correlation between either candle 2 and candle 3, like this, or candle 1 and candle 2. Those are the 3 different scenarios, right? Now your second stage SMT will look a little something like this. So if you have a cracking correlation between a key level, your second cracking correlation will actually form from a swing point between candle 1 and candle 2 like this. So I'm not just looking at like lower time frame SMTs. It has to be between the previous candle, high or low, on the 30-minute or hourly swing formation. Right? It's like kind of how you filter it, right? So it's going to look something like this. Your second stage SMT will be a swing point. the first stage SMT was a gap in this case, right? Or maybe you don't have SMT between candlesticks highs and lows, right? Or swing formation. Well, then you would require a PSP, right? So your first stage SMT is between a high or a low or a gap, and then your next stage SMT would be between a PSP, right? Sorry, I can't talk. This is more of like the highest probable scenario, is where you have a SMT with a key level, and then a two-stage PSP. Does that kind of make sense? That's kind of like a simple rundown on it. So this time you're not gatekeeping. I'll teach most things, yeah. So the reason why I wasn't teaching stuff is because they're obviously not my concepts, and I didn't think T trades wanted all that stuff in here, but I'm not teaching like too much. Like I probably won't have like SMT in the course, or sorry, I won't have SSMT in the course. Probably not. I will definitely add PSP though, you know, and how I use it. Um, I will. I guess I could add SSMT, like I guess, but yeah, I'll also add like I'll add asset synchronization, advanced premium discount, and stuff like that. But yeah, obviously the credit for like SSMT and PSP is to Trader Day. I just wanted to like not really teach someone else's concepts, but at this point like everyone does it. It's pretty widely known now. Like so it's like whatever, I guess. I'll just it's not my concepts. I just want everyone to know that, right? Yeah, I just didn't want to teach someone else's concepts really. But I mean, at this point, like we're all trading other people's concepts, kinda. Please add. We want to learn. Yeah, yeah. I'll teach. I'll teach all this stuff. Andrew, I don't even know, man. I don't know how the course. I don't even know much about 2.0, Links 2.0. I just work here, man. I'm not really sure what's going in there, what's happening. I know, you know, to a certain extent. Yeah, I just didn't believe you, bro. No, I'm just kidding, but I know a little bit. I just don't have anything to do with creating it, pretty much. You know, I have no idea if you're paying. I don't know. I literally have. I don't really know. I don't even know what I can say, honestly. I don't know. So I don't think much is changing as far as the. I know. I just know this. All right. I just know that I am creating a more advanced course. That's all I know. I don't know what's getting added to the main one. I wanted to add more stuff to my course, dude. Like just the regular course, right? In the lens because it's pretty basic, right? I want to add a lot more to it, and I'll see what I can add. I'm sure there's some things I can add, but you guys have seen some of it already. Like I've done mini lectures in the lens. Like I've done SMT lecture. I've done uh, just like randomly like how to trade London session. I've done like a PSP lecture. I've done driver lecture. Um, I've done an advanced lecture on invalidations. You know, like shit like that. Just like random stuff. Like all these little lessons, like that. All that good stuff could be added to a course. Honestly, when will I'm not launching. I'm not launching it. I don't know. I have no idea. They're creating that, bro. Garrett, too good at bro. Learning us everything. No, else teaching and us. Yeah, honestly, like there's certain things that I don't think anyone. I'm not saying that they don't know better, but for example, like how I use asset synchronization. I don't think or like strength switching and stuff like that. I don't think Those two things can tie in together. I don't think anyone does it better, like literally, and you can't find it anywhere else, like dead ass. No, I'm not. I am not really on a contract. Like I can leave whenever I want, like I and all that, but I don't do the back end stuff. Like I don't own the lens, so I don't know that's all them. Yeah, 1 minute inversions, dude. I gotta create a inversion strategy, dude. Literally, I actually did. Like, look at my trade on NQ or look at my trade on ES today. It's literally an inversion fair value gap. No bullshit. I literally took this. I could easily create that, dude. It would be the best, like, the best IFVG strat ever, dude. Inversion lesson. It's literally just like a reversal signature. That's why it's good. Like expansion with expansion. Like this SSMT down here, they see expansion with expansion. You know, like a reversal signature basically for retracement and reversal. It's like a good concept. Like actually, like it's fine. Like inverse value gap is fine. It's usually have a bunch of you know degenerates using it. Oh, you joined. You got rid of SMC, bro. Dude, tell me about it. I'm actually gonna end the stream, guys. I'll keep talking for a little bit, but yeah, let me end the stream.